A lot of games out there could really use a makeover. And I don't just mean the graphics. Heck, I'll be the first guy to tell you graphics aren't what make a game good. Some games had a great idea behind them, but just missed it on the execution. Some are hidden gems that could really use a little extra attention, and some just need better graphics. I feel like this is something the industry is actually pretty good about. I mean, we've got Metroid Zero Mission, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Halo Anniversary Edition, Ocarina of Time 3D, Maverick Hunter X, a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff. But hey, there's always room for more, right? Oh, and I'm not walling this list into a bunch of rules. It could be one game, or a couple in a series, or an entire freaking franchise. Whatever game or games I think would improve the overall state of the gaming industry as a whole, I'm gonna say deserve a remake. So here they are! Number 5! Zelda 1 and 2. The first Zelda was overall a success. It brought a lot of RPG adventure-style concepts to the table that nerds had been geeking out over for decades, but in a brand new format. Then came Zelda 2. I don't know what they were smoking. This game is barely playable, much less beatable. I mean, I know there are a lot of you out there with the dedication and patience to conquer this beast, but for a casual sit-down-and-play experience, this game is rough. You are error? You are error? What does that even mean? But you know, it kinda didn't matter. Because eventually we got Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, and the series was solidified in that format, and everybody was happy. Zelda 1 was a good first attempt, and Zelda 2, well, we can just pretend that didn't happen. Until the Hyrule Historia came out and actually fit the first two Zelda games into the timeline, and that made them relevant once again in my eyes. In fact, Zelda 1 and 2 are the last games chronologically in a timeline where the hero falls to Ganon and Hyrule is thrown into darkness, which conceptually is my favorite. So yeah, remake these games. Flesh out that story and slap some fancy graphics on them. I want to see Hyrule at its darkest hour, where the hero has fallen to the point of really needing to prove he's the hero. I want to see that pig-ass fat Ganon in 1080p and hear him laugh in HD sound. I want that fucking temple track from Zelda 2 remastered like, ah! This is Zelda music. Okay, I need to calm down for a second. Number 4! Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. This one is just begging to be on the list. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't as big a fan of Generation 3 as I was 1 and 2, but it certainly got a huge following, and they remade the first two generations, so why not Ruby and Sapphire next? Not only are people expecting this to happen sometime in the future, they're demanding it. What makes this so interesting is that with X and Y on the horizon, we now know that the future of Pokemon is going to be fully 3D. So if they remade Ruby and Sapphire, they'd be designed a lot like X and Y and probably be for 3DS. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would lose their minds over this. Like, literally buses full of kids would be carted off to the crazy house from the sheer amazingness that would be a fully 3D Hoenn region. But that's okay as long as we can bring our 3DSs with us. Anyway, I don't feel like I need to elaborate on what a 3D Pokemon game would be like, because soon we'll know. So come on, Game Freak, after X and Y come out, get to work on this one, because the fans will buy it. Number 3. The Legacy of Kain. Yeah, pretty much the whole series. The only one that really holds up to today's standards is 2003's Defiance. Seriously, that game is beautiful for a PS2 game. Anyway, if you don't know about The Legacy of Kain, and a lot of people don't, it's an epic 5-game tale about a vampire named Kain that takes over the world, ultimately bringing about its ruin, and the efforts he and his, pal, Raziel, take to try and fix everything. Sounds simple, but there are prophecies and time travel and swords that feast on souls and telekinetic blood drinking and people getting their hearts ripped out. This series is completely playable as it is, but the PS1 installments could definitely use a remake, and if you're gonna remake those, heck, remake the whole thing. I think I mainly want this series to be remade so it'll get more attention. People need to see this. They need to play it. You there, watching this video, go play Legacy of Kain. Real talk for a second, the voice acting in this game is god tier, and the writing is brilliant. The game's story is absolutely mind-blowing. Things happen in the later games that tie all the way back to the first ones, with each revelation more flooring than the last. Plus, come on, telekinetic blood drinking. That would look good on the PS4. So good. Number 2! Metroid II, The Return of Samus. Metroid 2 is to Zelda 1 as Metroid 1 is to Zelda 2, if that makes any sense at all. It's playable, and through some miracle I actually beat that game with no help when I was little, but enough bragging. This is one of those games that just needs a more modern approach to game design applied to it. I mean, look at how insanely fun Zero Mission turned out. Originally, Metroid 2 took place right after Metroid 1. Samus had just defeated Mother Brain and the Metroids and was like, well, I don't want to have to deal with that shit anymore, so she went to the Metroid homeworld to wipe him out. However, since then, the entire Prime series has been thrown into the mix and actually takes place between Metroid 1 and 2. Supposedly. Some sources say it's a different continuity, but whatever. Anyway, a remake of Metroid 2 could be tasked with the challenge of working Prime into the story, but regardless, Metroid 2 has a ton of potential. The game had a mood that kind of put you at ease and made you want to explore. Everything wasn't out to fucking ruin your life like it was in the first game. Until you found a Metroid, that is. The way every Metroid encounter was sort of its own little boss battle was fun, and as you got deeper and deeper into Planet SR388's caverns, the Metroids started getting more ferocious and would actually evolve into more dangerous forms upon hatching. This is something I would love to see in a remake. The emergence from its larval shell and transformation into something grotesque would look amazing with today's technology, and the abrupt change in music is so jarring that you're forced to immediately change gears from explorer mode to survival. Honestly, with the limitations of the Game Boy, they did a great job with Metroid 2, especially when compared to the first game. But with today's technology, this could be a straight-up masterpiece. I'd even be happy with a 16-bit version like Zero Mission or Super Metroid, but what I'd really like is a 3DS side-scroller with some crisp, eye-popping visuals. That would be amazing. Number 1! Final Fantasy VII. Say what you will about FF7, but this game is a masterpiece. Never has there been a game with such depth, such character development, such a rich narrative. Even though the characters were all just polygons stuck together, the developers did such a good job animating these sprites with little emotes that you knew exactly what they were feeling without reading the text or seeing their face. Game design really shines when developers are faced with limitations like the graphics of the PS1. It's easy to mask a game's shortcomings with modern technology, and I know I'm sitting here saying they need to use modern technology to remake this game, but that's because they already proved they could make it perfect on an old platform. Get an all-star cast of voice actors, not the same cheesy-ass crap you hear in most games. Make the graphics stunning, but don't change anything else. A recent Game Informer poll that I don't have a source on, so don't ask me for one, found that readers would be more likely to buy an entire new system to play a remake of FF7 than buy a new Final Fantasy game. Yes, that's spend $500 versus spend $50. Square, Soft, Enix, Squeenix, whatever the fuck you call yourself. People want this. They've wanted it for a long time. Stop doing coke off your large intestine, pull your head out of your ass, and remake this damn game! So there, that's it. Those are the games I think deserve remakes. What games do you want to see remade? Leave me a comment, throw me a like, and make sure you subscribe or I'll kill you. Want to drop me a line? Facebook or Twitter me. Links are in the description. Here's a couple more videos to watch if you're like ultra bored. Oh, and I have a Let's Play channel with a cool guy named Nate. Click here to see what's probably our funniest video. Okay, I'm really gonna stop talking now.
Bye! Whoa.